and welcome back to my channel. I'm back filming YouTube. I'm really excited to be filming. I have got a few videos kind of lined up and ready to go. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be the last time I ever say that I want to get back into YouTube and I'll actually stick to it. Because I noticed in my last video there were quite a few comments saying obviously you're back, like saying you're back and then you're not, like why'd you even bother doing YouTube? And I do kind of appreciate that I do say I'm back an awful lot and then really struggle with it. But I don't really understand why people get off on YouTube. Like, people are so mean in YouTube comments and I really don't understand why they think that that's acceptable. Like, you don't get it with blogs as much. Like, in fact, I actually haven't had a nasty comment on blog for years, but yeah, YouTube, it just seems to be like every single video, like somebody tends to be quite nasty, but never mind, that is kind of part of like the evil mistress that it is. But yeah, anyway, I'm back. I'm really excited to be here. I'm filming again. I've got quite a few things lined up, like I've already said. But yeah, the main point of this video is that I have an announcement. If you follow me on any form of social media or follow my blog, it is not in any way, shape or form a surprise. The announcement is that I am pregnant. It's going to be my first baby. Yeah, so really excited. I'm not early at all. Like, I am very much into my pregnancy. So I'm currently 25 and a half weeks, so 26 weeks this Saturday, which will probably be about the same time that this video airs. So kind of very much into my second trimester, very much into like 6.5 months. But yeah, I haven't really like kept it a YouTube secret, like it's not like some kind of grand unveiling. It has been on my blog and it has also been on all forms of other social media. Yeah, like I said, like I just haven't really been into YouTube, but I've started watching a lot more YouTube videos recently, so I've been kind of really inspired. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. So I kind of wanted to give it another go. And also, like, now that I'm pregnant, there's just a lot of new content to talk about. I will make sure that it is not all pregnancy related, because obviously that isn't for everybody and I completely appreciate that. Wins, where are you going? But there are obviously still quite a few things I do want to talk about, which are baby related, which are things that I have struggled to kind of find topics on myself. So yes, I'll be talking about that. But yeah, 25 weeks. So I want to talk about like a pregnancy unveiling and then talk about like my pregnancy so far and, oh, you're sitting back down again, and kind of what's happened. So found out I was pregnant the day before Mother's Day, which is the UK Mother's Day, which I think off the top of my head is the 5th of March. So found out, so we were trying for a baby, start right from here. So we were trying for a baby since August. I think, but I'm not 100% sure, that in August I had a chemical pregnancy. So a chemical pregnancy, I hate my hair today. A chemical pregnancy is when you like do a pregnancy test, find out you're pregnant, and then it's kind of a very early miscarriage. So basically it's not classed as a miscarriage because it's before the baby, like it's when the egg and the sperm meet and then kind of make their journey. The pregnancy tests nowadays are clever enough to pick those up, like pick that hormone up. So it's not actually decided as to whether the baby's going to form or not. So it hasn't like buried into your uterus and implanted. So yeah, I think it was a chemical pregnancy, but it took me to get pregnant to realise that. So I did a pregnancy test in August, came back positive obviously, really excited, like, so we were trying for a baby. I really wanted a baby, still like, obviously wanted a baby, but I was really wanted to get pregnant. And then the next morning I did another pregnancy test with the like the morning urine to find out if like how far gone I was, because I did one of those clear blue ones where it tells you like X amount of weeks, and it came back as a negative. So I was kind of quite confused. Went to the doctors, did like 7 or 8 other pregnancy tests, all came back negative. So initially I had thought that we had had like a faulty pregnancy test, but it turns out that you can't really get those. They don't really exist. So I was kind of very much confused until I got pregnant again. But it you kind of still go through the grieving process of having a miscarriage, because I obviously thought I was pregnant, got really excited, even though it was only for about 12 hours and I slept for most of those. You kind of still go through that process, and it kind of made wanting a baby like so much more urgent, because I felt like I'd lost one basically. So yeah, March came round, and like I'd also found out in between this whole thing, this will, let's just say now, this will be a very, very long video, but it's kind of covering a lot of ground. So yeah, so between August and March, so I think it's about October, I also found out I had polycystic ovary syndrome, which is something that can affect fertility. So it means you don't ovulate every single month, so it can make the whole process a lot longer, and sometimes people don't ovulate at all, so they have to have help to get pregnant. So I was having tests run on finding out whether I ovulate or not, which was going to take 2 months. So I was due for a follow-up in, well, about the week after I found out I was pregnant. So I had to do like 2 cycles, basically 2 like menstrual cycles. So they gave me, yeah, like it was between like December and March that I had to wait for my appointments. So yeah, I found out I had polycystic ovaries in October, had my first appointment with a gynecologist in December, who said that he would need to wait 2 cycles to find out if I ovulate before they could decide what treatment was best. So my follow-up appointment was March, which was 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th of March. So I obviously found out I was pregnant before I had to go back to that, which was lovely. Winnie's just leaving the room. So yeah, so I had that. So the strange thing is that we'd kind of stopped trying as hard to get pregnant, because we were convinced that I was gonna have fertility problems, and we were waiting to see what the gynecologist was gonna do. We just kind of had stopped trying, like, so it was a real kind of, not a shock, well yeah, it was a shock when I actually got pregnant. So in March, back to March, I started to think that something was not right. My cycle was about 40 odd days, which anyone that has polycystic ovaries knows that's completely normal. Like your cycle can go from like being 12 days to 60 days, and it's just so hard to track things. So I wasn't really that concerned about that. But one thing I had noticed was that my boobs were getting a lot bigger and they were quite sore. But I put that down to about to have a period, even though I've never had that symptom in my life, like for periods, but I just kind of assumed it was hormonal. And another thing that I found was weird is that I just bought a new pair of jeans, and they were really, really uncomfortably tight. Despite the fact that I already had the same pair of jeans, I just like basically bought another pair, so I thought the sizing should be okay. So yeah, so those were kind of 2 things that I found really odd. And then the main kind of like point where I was like, I think I should do a pregnancy test, was on the Friday night. So I found out I was pregnant on the Saturday. On the Friday night, my mother-in-law came down for Mother's Day, and she brought like a couple of gins and stuff, and I'd been ridiculously tired like all week, but that's kind of not really like a standout thing, like I'm quite a tired person anyway, but it was like unbearably tired. So yeah, so she came around and she poured a gin and tonic. I drank 1 gin and tonic and wanted to vomit, like it made me feel so sick. I went to bed at 8 o'clock, which is really unlike me because I was so tired. And in the night, like I just had the biggest sweats ever, like I was so hot. And again, I just thought maybe I was due my period, but wanted to do a pregnancy test just to make sure. So did a pregnancy test, did a clear blue one, came back positive, which is really exciting, but I kind of didn't really take the excitement on because I've been burnt by the last pregnancy test. Me and Rich were really cautious, so we were just like, what does it mean? So drove out, got 2 more pregnancy tests, did them, still kind of wasn't really having it, like, so the next day did another pregnancy test, was still confirming I was pregnant, and I still was kind of in disbelief, like I didn't want to get too excited just because I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like I just felt like having a, I don't know, I wanted to be guarded basically because I didn't want to be hurt again. So I went to the doctors on the Monday, they confirmed I was pregnant by doing pregnancy tests and blood test results. Still kind of didn't really want to get too excited, I just felt like it was very early, so we were about 5 weeks pregnant then, and yeah, like I just didn't want to get hurt. So on the Wednesday, So I've been pregnant now, no, I've knowingly been pregnant for 4 days. I started bleeding, which obviously anyone that has been pregnant knows that that is kind of like a massive like red alert basically, without being too disgusting. So yeah, I started bleeding, so it was just kind of like, it was like spotting, but it was also like heavier than I thought spotting would be. So it wasn't like a period, it was very light, but I assumed that spotting would have been a lot lighter. So obviously panicked massively. So this was Wednesday night. I was absolutely devastated, like thought I was having a miscarriage, and just kind of accepted that my pregnancy was over basically. I rang the midwife. Look, I've got a real odd colour thing going on. So yeah, my midwife, called the midwife the next day. They said not to panic and that it can be really normal. Oh yeah, this is it as well. So I was charting at 7 weeks pregnant, because I've got irregular cycles. Yeah, I was put down at 7 weeks pregnant, but actually I was 5 weeks, but we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, I thought I was 7 weeks pregnant. So at this stage, implantation bleeding is kind of a real odd thing to occur. It's completely normal around 5 weeks, but 7 weeks you would expect the baby to have been implanted. So obviously was worried. The midwife tried to calm me down and tell me it was completely normal. I'm gonna have to do something with my hair because it's really pissing me off. Yes, the midwife was trying to calm me down, tell me it's normal, which kind of made me feel better, and the bleeding had stopped on the Thursday, and then around 2-3 o'clock it started again. So I decided that I wanted to go see a GP, went to the doctors, and again, like, this is the most frustrating thing that's ever happened to me. If you think you're having a miscarriage, like, you want to see somebody and you want some kind of confirmation of what's going on. So went to go see the doctor, saw like a nurse coordinator, so it wasn't a doctor, who was kind of quite like, she was older, so she was quite like stiff, not stiff upper lip, but quite like, I don't really know the word, straight-laced. So she was like, oh, what did she say? I can't remember. She basically said that if you're having a miscarriage, you're having a miscarriage, so there's nothing they can do about it, which I do understand. Like in early pregnancy, there is nothing you can do about it. Once it's done basically. But I just wanted to know either way. Like, I didn't like this limbo of, is it implantation or am I miscarrying? So again, the bleeding stopped relatively quickly, but I was, you know, I felt a little bit reassured because people kept on telling me how normal it was, but also still felt a little bit upset, and kind of felt like I needed to accept the loss of my baby. So then Friday, I think I had some bleeding, very light again, and it stopped pretty quickly. Saturday, I think we were fine, and then Sunday we had a lot of bleeding. So it still wasn't like a period, it was just heavier than it had been. We'd gone on a dog walk, and I think that kind of had like made it happen a bit more, I guess. So I rang the doctor, got a male doctor this time, who was really, really good. Like, basically got me in, checked my heart rate or something, got my blood pressure, and then rang the early pregnancy unit straight away and booked me in for a scan, which wasn't going to be until the Wednesday. So I've basically been bleeding like for a week until I'd even find out. So went for an early scan on the Wednesday. Yeah, went for an early scan, found out that my baby was absolutely fine, which was the best feeling ever, like seeing the little heartbeat and stuff and just seeing that he was okay. And that it was implantation bleeding, like you kind of see where like he'd burrowed into the uterus and it started the bleeding. Found out that I was earlier in my pregnancy than I thought I was, so I was only 5 weeks, not 7, so that's why it was normal. Yeah, and they were, hello, what have you been doing? And they were just really good, and just tried to make me feel better. And I did. And then obviously, like, in your first trimester, like, nothing much happens for a very long time, so you're kind of waiting around like a lot, just for things to get exciting. Like, between, yeah, finding out you're pregnant and 12 weeks, like, there's nothing going on apart from one midwife appointment, which is boring. So yeah, obviously just had to wait and see what happened. Then, yeah, so they didn't document that I was earlier than I was, basically, in any form of like paperwork. So I got called in for my first, like my I can't remember, my dating scan I think it's called, like, which is your 12-week scan, at 10 weeks pregnant, which I thought was odd, but I kind of just felt like the doctors know what they're doing. So I went for my scan at 10 weeks and yeah, they were like, you're 10 weeks pregnant, so you're gonna have to come back in 2 weeks before we can, you know, progress, and don't tell anyone still, like you're still in your first trimester. So I went back 2 weeks later, had my 12-week scan, and yeah, baby's fine. So I'll talk a little bit now about the first trimester just generally. So I really didn't enjoy the first trimester. My pregnancy symptoms were like, I felt nauseous. I was never sick, I was just really nauseous. The tiredness is insane. Like, I would be asleep every single night by about 8 o'clock, or I'd fall asleep on the sofa. Like, I've never been so tired in my life. Obviously I was just generally moody. The hunger was something else, like I was always hungry. And yeah, I just didn't really feel like myself. I think I had like a touch of like prenatal depression maybe, like, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Yeah, I just, like, I'm so happy I'm pregnant. I just didn't really enjoy the first trimester that much. Yeah, my boobs hurt. What else? I don't know really, like the first trimester, like I think most people would agree, like it's not the best thing in the world basically. So yeah, then came into second trimester, so obviously found out, do you have your 12-week scan, come into second trimester, tell everybody. Loads of people already knew because they just guessed, because I was eating weird things and was tired and crabby and stuff, and obviously had loads of doctor's appointments. Second trimester, like the start of it, I absolutely loved. I had so much energy and so much positivity. Like I used to wake up every day at 5 o'clock and go downstairs and be like hoovering, mopping, like I really enjoyed that. So yeah, second trimesters come at 16 weeks. We had a private gender scan with Baby Bond, who, it was a really lovely experience actually. But yeah, we found out we're having a baby boy, which was great. Rich kind of knew it was a boy. I kind of pretty much knew it was a boy, but had kind of wanted a girl initially. Like, it's horrible to say that, and like not many people will admit to it, but yeah, initially I wanted a girl, but now I'm having a boy. I'm really excited to have a boy. I'm really happy about it, and wouldn't change it at all. Like, if I could wave a magic wand, like, I'm having a boy. But yeah, initially I'd wanted a girl. I think like I just wanted a girl because I know what to expect with girls, like obviously being one. Whilst boys, I was a bit more like, oh, they've got willies, I don't know what to do with it. Like, you know. But yeah, so having a little boy, that kind of really helps. Like, I'd always said before I got pregnant I'd never find out the gender, but the second I got pregnant I was adamant I would know, and it does definitely helps with bonding, and it's nicer to be able to buy them specific things, and like pick a name and stuff. So yeah, so I did all that, and then around 18 weeks I felt my first baby movements. So it was literally just like I leant forward, like, and obviously like put pressure on the baby, and felt kind of like a ball rolling on my stomach, or like it feels like when you go over a hill and it's butterflies, but it's kind of like an extended feeling of that. So that was the first feelings of that. And then at around, I'd feel things every now and again, and then at around 20 weeks I started to feel like way more consistent like flutters and stuff, but it was definitely more of a flutter like if I got into the bath or something, or most evening. It's just kicked me right now, it's like he knows I'm talking about him. So yeah, that was lovely, like being able to feel movements, and I've been really lucky to be able to feel movements so early on in my pregnancy, because I know some people don't feel them as early on as I had with their first. What else has been going on? Yeah, second trimester is a lot easier basically. You get all your energy back and you start to show having a bump, and you feel your baby, and your pregnancy is taken a lot more seriously by the NHS. That's another thing that's really difficult. Like in your first trimester, basically, like if you lose your baby, you lose your baby, that's it. Like, and I do appreciate there's nothing they can do, but there's not that much, like, your pregnancy is not treated as seriously as it could be. I'm gonna check what the dog's doing. But yeah, your pregnancy is treated way more seriously, which is like much nicer. So like now obviously, like when you get to 24 weeks especially, yeah, your baby is basically like, he's viable. So if I was to go into labour now, like there's they can actually keep him alive, whilst anything before that he's not considered viable, so they wouldn't resuscitate him or anything. So yeah, so it was nice to have my midwife appointment recently where like you're basically just treated as like a pregnant person, I guess, which is really difficult when no one seems to care, because obviously no matter, like the second like the egg meets the sperm and you know about it, your baby is your baby, but to like in medical eyes they're not. So yeah, so then got to like weeks 20, had 20-week scan, confirmed he was definitely a boy. He's fine, like he's lovely, he's healthy. And then around 20 weeks is kind of when I started to like really accept things and get excited. Like obviously bleeding and early pregnancy and the chemical pregnancy, I was just convinced that this baby wasn't meant to be, like the whole pregnancy, which is horrendous, and it's so hard to feel that way. But I think any kind of mum or pregnant person knows that pregnancy is such a scary time. Like you're constantly worried you're going to lose your baby, or you're going to hurt them, or something's going to go wrong. And yeah, it's only recently that I kind of started to like get a little bit more excited, and now I can feel him, I can check on him and stuff, like I kind of know what he's up to. Like now I feel him kicking, so I know he's okay, and that's a lovely feeling. So yeah, around 20 weeks I had a real panic that he wasn't going to be okay, which is ridiculous, and then I had my scan, I was fine. And then around 23 weeks, 23 weeks, my hormones just completely plummeted, and I had about a week of some quite bad anxiety and quite bad like prenatal depression, I think it's called, or antenatal depression. Now I'm like, we'll touch on this in a whole other video because I kind of really want to go into it, because I think it needs to be talked about a lot more. And I know that like Sammy from the Beauty Crush has had the same kind of thing, and I just think it's really important. When you're pregnant, you're expected to be some like beautiful glowing person, and it's just not that simple. Like being pregnant kicks you in the arse, it's such hard work. So I really want to talk about that in another video, but I will. So yeah, like hormones just kind of generally plummeted and have been a bit shit. But then the following week, like this is pregnancy, like week to week things change so much. So one week I feel like crap, and the next week I'm fine again, like I'm pregnant and happy and moving on and stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of pregnancy up till now. I don't really know how to kind of progress with pregnancy updates. Like I watch them and really appreciate them. Like I watch Anna Taccone and I watch Kendra, I can't remember her name, I think it's Atkinson. Kendra Atkins, that's it. I love her pregnancy update, she's got twins. Yeah, but I think doing them weekly is a little bit too much. Like nothing really changes that much week to week, so I think I might try and do them like fortnightly or monthly, I'm not sure, or just maybe as things get different. So yeah, I'm going to do a few little videos. I'm going to do a nursery tour video as well, because the nursery is all set up, and a what I've bought baby so far, which is actually quite a lot. But yeah, so if you have any questions, oh, and I'm also going to talk about prenatal depression. I'm probably going to do more about bleeding in pregnancy, even though it's a little bit OTT. I just think that we should. So yeah, and I'm also going to show you the bump right now. So I'm not sure if you can see it from here. Oh yeah, you can. So yeah, quite big at the moment. He's measuring fine, but I feel like an absolute house. So yeah, there he is. He's definitely in there. I've got the whitest belly ever, and my belly button's about to pop too. But yeah, he's kicking around here at the moment, and he's all around this side. Like you can feel him, it's like super hard around there. So yeah, that is 6.5 months pregnant. So yeah, so just let me know how you want it to progress, like pregnancy wise from here. Like I said, I've got a couple of things lined up, and then I'm also going to do some homeware stuff, and I'm going to Primark on Saturday. So I'm going to do a Primark haul, because I need to get some, not maternity clothes, because I don't really want to buy maternity clothes because they're expensive and they're a bit shit. I've just ended up buying like stretchy stuff from Primark, so that's what I'm going to carry on doing. So there'll be a Primark haul. What else have I got planned? Some favourites, and I've also done some vlog filming, which is very exciting. So yes, but now I'm going to crack on filming my next video, which is what we've bought for baby so far. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate it if you could subscribe, because obviously since I've fallen off the YouTube radar, I've lost about 101 subscribers, which breaks my heart a little bit. So yeah, but yeah, just subscribe, like this video, that'd be amazing. All the things that I'd like you to do. And yeah, if you have any questions or you want me to talk about anything pregnancy related, then just leave a comment or you can inbox me. Some girl, by the way, inboxed me the other day a really lovely message about a video, and I got it because I got an email about it, just saying that she really liked my videos, and I cannot find like the YouTube inbox to reply to her. So if you know where that is, that'd be amazing, because I don't know where it is. So yeah, so I'm gonna do what I bought baby so far and a few other bits, but I really appreciate you watching this video. Something's flashing up on my camera, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, and I will see you in the next one, and I'm also trying to work out what day is best to post, because I'm in a real like standpoint at the moment because I've got loads of videos planned, and I'm going to film them all really soon, and then I'm going to want to churn them all out really quickly because they'll be relevant, and then I'm going to have like time with nothing to film, but that's fine, we'll just phase it out as we go. But yeah, so hopefully this video will be up soon. Then I'm going to do Primark haul, then I'm going to do what I've got baby so far. So yeah, we'll just see how we get on. But I really appreciate everybody that has remained a subscriber and stayed with it. And thank you for watching this video again. And yes, I will see you in the next one. Bye!